All right, in transparency to our Managed Chaos podcast listeners, my word of the year this year is expansion, which technically I held over from last year because last year really didn't go how I imagined. But luckily in Q4, I really focused on the problem. Was the problem anything around me? No, it was actually me. The problem was me. I was the problem. My mindset was the issue. And this year is truly aligning, right, with my vision of what expansion was really supposed to be about. And today I have the joy of sitting down with someone very key to that shift in mindset. Welcome to Managed Chaos Podcast, where we give you the startup business rundown in less time than it takes for you to get to work. I'm Katrina Purcell, and today we have a truly magic woman. Chardee McEwan-Guzda is here to talk all things mindset. Chardee is a board-certified psychotherapist, executive coach, and founder of the Aligned Mind Method, known for her unique blend of neuroscience, mindset mastery, and integrative wellness. She helps high achievers, hello listeners, and leaders unlock their full potential by rewiring their subconscious and aligning their energy with their strategy. And she can also do it with pounding construction happening all around her. Chardee, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for being part of the construction. That is my life right now. What a fabulous intro that was.
I try. Well, and you've got construction. I'm here in New York on a very dreary, disgusting Monday. So I'm trying to bring some light and life into the day. We will try and bring some order and clarity to your day with all the construction happening. But let's talk about all of this subconscious wiring, right?
Oh,
how does that affect our success or lack of, and our lack of motivation and focus? Help me out here.
I tell you what, once you really dive into the subconscious, you are going to unlock the secret. You know how everyone's like, there's like this secret and they just know it. And they're like, I know there's this thing that I just need to find. And once I sort of like find and I know how it works, I'm going to be able to achieve everything. That's your subconscious. Because it holds the stories and the fables that you tell yourself again and again and again. So whether you can or whether you can't, it's all in your subconscious. And it truly is the thing that's going to make or break you in either way. Because we tell ourselves stories every single day. And these aren't even our stories. So we've picked them up from when we were little. We are like little sponges when we're little. And we like drink in everyone's stories and their mannerisms. So however you grew up and the people around you, what their belief system is, whether or not you logically agree with that now, subconsciously you have created that as a story of safety. So you are going to perform in the world from your subconscious, not your logic, because your subconscious runs it like 97 to 98% of the times, which is crazy when you think about it.
It is, especially since you're mostly unaware of it, unless you do real work to become aware of it. So you don't realize you're holding yourself
fascinating. Back. Right? That's the thing. Like you always think it's sort of like this invisible force or where you are or your finances or the opportunities or something else. And it really is yourself because you've told yourself the story about the finances and this and that, and then you perform to that. So there's this, I know we talk a lot about post-traumatic stress, and post-traumatic stress are those stories and those experiences that are running in the subconscious as well. But we have this thing called post-traumatic growth as well that not a lot of people talk about. And it's David Goggins is actually probably the poster child of post-traumatic growth, but he takes it to the extreme. And now everything has to be a challenge for him to be able to achieve something. So all those stories that are sitting in your subconscious are going to play out subconsciously throughout your day in the tiny little micro habits that you do every day. So whether you wake up to your alarm or you snooze it, or you jump up before, like all of these things add up.
Exactly. So why do high achievers often struggle with burnout and mindset blocks like this?
Because they have this story that achieving has to be hard. And they have that story because at some stage as they were growing up or they were going through or they were watching somebody who was really successful, they saw how hard it was. And at some stage, that has really kept them safe because you do have to do foundational work. right? But you don't have to struggle and grind like that your whole life. But for some reason, it locks in as it's like the grind equals success. So if I'm successful, I need to grind. So they will actually go and create grind where there is none, because they can't just relax and receive all the good stuff that's happening, because it's so foreign to their view of success. It's actually as you can tell, I could talk about this all day. I find it absolutely fascinating, the way that we show up in the world, our body language, the way we think, the way we talk, the way we hold ourselves. All of these things are giving cues to the stories that you tell yourself. So yes, that is a huge one.
I can think of my husband right now telling me, just relax. Just relax.
Right.
And he's like, what do you mean just relax? I can't just relax. If I just relax, what will happen? Everything will fall apart.
Right? And that's such a common story, because it's like, if I fully relaxed, how long is it going to take me to get back to this stage again? Because all I know is how long it took me to get this level of success. So if I relax, it's going to take me another 20 years to be able to do it. And we tell ourselves this story again and again and again and again and again. It is so true. And also, nobody in the history of the world has ever relaxed by being told to relax.
Exactly. Yes. Maybe take care of the 15 things on the to-do list.
I'll put it down. I'll put it on the list.
What are some simple strategies that business owners can implement to sort of align their mindset with their goals? I think, starting your own business or running a startup, it really unlocks a whole new fear and a whole new level of sort of a need to master your mindset, because it's not only you anymore, it's now a business that's relying on you, or clients who are relying on you. And so how can we, as business owners, align that mindset and goal piece?
I know all of your listeners, after I say this, are going to scream out my name and not in a happy scream either. They're just going to be like, what? You've got to slow down. Which is, it goes against every single thing
that's
that we
easy.
know. Yeah. Check, we'll put it right under relax, shall we? Like, relax, slow down. But what you have to do is you have to create these little pockets of like 10 to 15 minutes where you can reset your energy. So as you know, I've got lots of the meditations and the rewiring hypnosis that I do, and they're all done for very busy people. So they're done for about 10 minutes. And it's like a little holiday for your nervous system and your subconscious mind and your logical mind as well. So you can completely reset, and then you can run at everything again. Because what happens when we wake up in the morning is our brain turns on, and it's almost like it's a light bulb. So if you think about leaving a light bulb on all day, it's going to be so hot by the end of the day that you're not going to be able to go anywhere near it. But if you find these 5-10 minute pockets of time where you're able to rewire and start to tell your subconscious mind, like, it's safe for me to relax, it's easy for me to get my goals, people are happy and healthy and want to work with me, everyone loves my offer and my product. So if you can take 10-15 minutes just 3 times a day and break it up in your day to start to rewire your mindset and your nervous system like that, you are going to have so much more energy to be able to go to those meetings and go do new products and go out into the world and go turn up on podcasts as well, because you're setting yourself up for success. But the first time that I introduced this to everyone, where I'm like, okay, we need to make pockets of downtime, or we're just going to add a little 10-15 minutes on the end of your lunch, the looks that I get, and people will fight with me for about 6 months, and I'm like, okay, we've done it your way, can we do it mine? They're like, I just feel like I can get so much more done, and I'm not exhausted at the end of the day, because it's another story. Like, if I do this, I must be really tired and exhausted. So yeah, if we can start to create those little 5-10 minute pockets, and that's all it takes to like reset your nervous system, you're going to be able to get to where you want to go, happy, healthy, balanced, and without that stress that you've already told yourself that being successful you have to achieve.
And we did some of that by even also looking at what periods of the day were kind of my peak periods, right? So aligning more with your overall rhythm. I think we tend to try and go with what society has said our rhythm should be, or what our clients want it to be, or what our family says it should be. And so really thinking through and doing that work on, when do I feel most alive? When do I feel most creative? When am I, you know, what are my periods when maybe I do need to do this and take a walk outside, as opposed to taking that one more meeting?
Right? It's so incredibly important. I love that you brought that up as well, because everyone has an energetic biorhythm, and it's really important that you work out what yours is, especially when you're a high achiever. And I know everyone who's listening to this is going to be, because they're drawn to the managed chaos. They're like, that's how I do it. But if you can work out where your peaks and where your dips are and start to move things into those areas. So I'll give you a prime example. I do everything really early in the morning. Like, if you need me to write you a grant or go through something, it's got to be before 9 a.m. Like, it's got to be. Like, it's starting to push it come sort of like 11, and after 3, you've got absolutely no chance. That's when I'll do my reels, or I'll start to write down and create the hypnos, or I'll do some poetry or something like that, like choose the colors for my website. Yeah, but I can't do that first thing in the morning because my brain is so alive. So I know we did this with you as well, and it was sort of like keep a diary on when it was like, when you felt like you were on and you were like into everything and everything was flowing really easy, and when you sort of felt like it dipped off, and see if it came back again. And we had some really great insights with you.
Yeah, after 6 o'clock, useless human being.
Right.
Which is
I'm
hilarious because my husband's a night owl. He does his best, most productive coding after it's dark outside. And I'm like, leave me alone. I'm in bed with my book and a hot tea.
Right? It's so funny, isn't it? And see, if they tried to do all of his coding stuff first thing in the morning the way that you are, he would absolutely hate it as well. So it's best to know about you. Like, you know about you, and keep a track of your energetic biorhythm as well. And I think most people will be really pleasantly surprised. So I break up my day into 2 parts. So I have like day part 1 and day part 2. And the first part of the day is like high functioning. It's everything's jammed in there. I can go bang, 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 like back to back. And in the afternoon, definitely more creative, a little bit slow. I can do lots of like my creative outlets and stuff like that, which is great. Lots of my filming. But yeah, it's very interesting. And it sounds like your husband is the opposite of that. So all of his creative stuff should be in the morning.
Yes, or all of his coffee and sleeping in should be in the morning for sure. So as we do this work, right, and we make the effort and we add in different things, how do we make sort of sustainable mindset wellness something that founders can think about as they're growing and scaling, and as their company, you know, maybe becomes 100 people, right, or more employees across the globe, right, and they're dealing with time zones? How can they still make this sustainable?
That's a really important question, because the bigger your company grows, the more time you need to do this. So you need to be set and on your game. And especially if you're growing a company that's sort of like 100, 800, you're the person who always puts yourself last. So I've got lots of beautiful clients who have got, you know, global companies, and I see them once a week and we do an hour once a week, and they've got lots of homework, and I check their homework as well. But they will have things in there, which is just a meeting with themselves, where it's sort of like them and their ideas for the future. Because if we don't carve out that time for your future self, you're going to be stuck in that same part. And once again, most people fight me for about 6 months on this before they come around. I sound like I'm on a battlefield most of the time.
Yeah.
But you've got to understand, like, a lot of my clients are really highly successful people, and everything that they've done so far has got them to where they are.
Exactly.
So they're very hesitant to sort of like wind it back as well. And I totally understand it. So we start sort of, you know, 1 day a week, do it on a Monday, and then we'll bring in the Wednesday, then we'll bring in the Friday, and then we sort of like will seed it in a little bit. But you've got to be so invested in you and take an hour for you to do future planning for yourself. And in that hour, it could be writing down your ideas, it could be like exercising, it could be meditation, it could be anything. Like, the bigger the company gets, those 5-10 minute pockets, they need to stretch out a little bit. It's like very, very important.
Agreed. And I think it becomes more sustainable because you start to see the results. You have to stick with it to start to see the results. But I can tell when I'm not having good hygiene on my mindset practice, because I'll get to a point in the day and say, wait a minute, why do I feel this way? Oh, wait a minute, I didn't take my time and focus on me and do my EMDR or take my walk. And as a result, I'm now spiraling. And so you got to remember to pull back a little bit and take that time.
I always refer to it as ratty. Like, I feel like when I get ratty and I feel like I'm gnawing on things that I wouldn't normally gnaw on, like they're just kind of lingering around. And I'll go, what haven't I done? And it will be the meditation, which is so ridiculous because you go, you know what, getting 1 or 2 more emails or calling back this person or doing this is going to be so much more beneficial for my business than having a meditation, but it's really not.
It's really not, because I find myself focusing on the wrong stuff if I haven't done that work for the day. Well, this has been so helpful. How can folks find you, Chardee, if they want to work with you or they want to learn more about mastering their mindset?
Well, I'm a total mindset nerd, so you guys can find me. I've got so my business name is Chardee McEwan-Guzda. The reason this came about was because no one could say my name when they first started to see me, and they kept referring their friends to me, and they're like, oh, we just call you the Magic Woman. And I could not stop laughing. So I actually just changed the business to Chardee McEwan-Guzda, because that's why they were just like, yeah, because you've just got the magic. I don't know what you do, but you just do it. So
I love that for you.
So that's, it's so good, isn't it? So that's how the business became Chardee McEwan-Guzda. It's sort of like it was a funny little thing that happened right at the start, because it was called Eastern Holistic Healing when it first started.
Which is very long,
which is very long, and no one could remember it. And I thought it was quite clever until no one could remember it or find me. So yeah, I've got a website, so it's chardeemagicwoman.com, and you can also find me on YouTube. You can also find me on TikTok, on Instagram. I'm also on Insight Timer as well, where I've got lots of all these rewiring meditations and hypnosis that we've been talking about as well.
Yes, and they are all super valuable, and you will find me listening to many of them on the New York City subway to try and drown out all the noise and the actual rats. And so we will link all of that in our show notes for you so that you can find Chardee on your own. We thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time. And we will look forward to seeing all of our listeners again on the next episode of Managed Chaos Podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.